Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Today is our final day of the Human versus AI show match series. Here we have my good friend and one of the best Terrans ever in the non-Korean scene, or the scene outside of Korea. This is Nyoken. He's under the Schnell ID. I think that's just what it sets you as when you start. But he is playing against first the Taran bot, Arias. I'm not sure if I played Adias, so not entirely sure about this one. I do know the Taran matchups a bit better against the bots than the other ones that I've cast. I did play the bots, I think 5 years ago, I want to say. And there was some reasonable plays, I felt like, that they made. And actually, if I recall correctly, I think Cadenzi actually lost a game or two, and she's a very strong S-rank Zerg as well. So, maybe just players got better over time. Maybe this is just a bad run for the bots that we've had so far. But so far, the bots not able to really make anything too close. But yeah, let's see what happens here. This might be one of the higher potential games for the AIs. Yeah, it's like in Terran versus Terran, you don't have as many like messy early engagements. A lot of times it's about siege tank positioning, scanning, sending units around, gaining some vision and stuff. So it's less like, for instance, there's no Reaver drop, right? There's no mutas that can just fly in and kill everything. And that's like some of the games that we've seen so far, right? Like the right way to play TVT is oftentimes not to attack. So maybe that's going to play well for our bots. I'm not sure. But looks like Arias is getting gas just about on time, lined up with Nyoken very, very closely. So going to be easy to watch this one and see where the bot maybe gets ahead or maybe falls behind. Guys, while we kind of wait for these openings to show themselves, I do want to thank you for watching ArtosisCasts. I hope that you've enjoyed the last couple videos, and this one I hope you enjoy as well. Just trying out some different things. I talked to the maker of Schnell, Sonko, while I was in Thailand, and we thought this would be a cool idea for people to get to see. It's always fun to see, like, okay, well, there are bots out there, and you can actually play against them. And, they're actually, I think they're stronger than what they look like in these videos, but of course, these are some of our best players in North America, so it's not a surprise that they have been able to be victorious thus far. Yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for comments and likes and subscribing to the channel and all that great stuff. I really do appreciate it, guys. And yeah, so let's see what's happening in this game. So Arias's factory is very similarly timed to Nyoken's. One thing to mention is that in this matchup, Vulture expansion is the most normal thing to see. Normally you make a command center and then pop a Vulture out and you go from there. That's generally how it goes. So Arias makes a Vulture but sends his SCV back onto gas. Now this is a bot, so I would not look at this as Nyoken and take too much from this. If I saw this, now that depot means more, but if I saw this in a game that I was playing on the ladder, I'd be like, oh, well, that's weird. Like something is off, because normally you just do exactly what Nyoken's doing here. Now, Nyoken, seeing that, does get a barracks going again and makes a bunker. There is a bunker here as well for Arias. Vulture coming down for Arias, catching Nyoken's SCV, so kills that SCV off. Looks like we have a little bit of a glitch there on the SCV. And that Vulture tries to get by. Now, the Vulture actually microed incorrectly. It could have gotten past, but did have a bit of an error there. The way that it kind of went down and wiggled a bit. If he had just gone directly like that, he would have made it over to here. And then if Nyoken was really quick, and he is, he probably would have trapped it with the SCV or popped these two Marines out, flanked it, and killed it anyways. So normally you don't run past a bunker that has two Marines. And you can see why. Because that would have died anyways, but it died right away. Siege tank coming out, and Arias actually just kept in the CV in front watching and then runs as the siege tank comes. Bunker is up over here. Siege tank with siege mode is on the way. And over on Nyoken's side, this is actually a part of why I thought Nyoken would be a good player to play against this. This is Nyoken's standard opener, is Siege Tank Wraith. right? There's a lot of ways to open, but Siege Tank Wraith is kind of a slower opener. You can poke up and you can do things with your early units. But like, for instance, if you had a good 3-factory Vulture player here, he'd kill this bot in the next minute or so, I think, right? So that I kind of expected it to look more like this. It's the Vulture play has like a lot more hard off-the-cuff decision-making. So I kind of assumed that the Taran bot would likely go for siege tanks, and Nyoken I think is a good choice against that to show that maybe more of a game, a longer game. I'm basically just hoping for a long game, not any AI victories, but really anything that's even close. So Nyoken pulls back after getting hit by a siege tank. Adios looking completely fine here. Kind of funny the amount of SCVs that come off. Like here, you'd normally just, like, what is this? It's trying to scout once again, and then these two are trying to repair it. So he gets caught in that bridge for a moment. Nyoken goes up immediately looking to see if there's an armory. That's a very common tactic. Attack the SCV, making the armory to slow down the armory so that the Goliath is slower and you can do more damage. But yeah, this is going to be highly annoying for Adios. Well, it's an AI. I know it doesn't get annoyed, but you know what I mean. It is going to have to kind of work on pushing this back. Looks like Nyoken's going to fly away because he thinks that there's a Goliath about to pop and he doesn't want to take damage. I did hear a scan in there, and I'm not sure exactly where the scan went because I was kind of explaining that other aspect, but there is cloak on the way. So the fact that there's already scan is kind of nice. There's Goliath range on the way. Honestly, this opening's not bad from Adios, other than the worker count, right? We have 3 idle SCVs. Tech-wise, though, everything's fine. Like, if I was playing against Nyoken, I'd have closer SCVs, but it would look kind of similar, right? Some tanks in siege mode, 2 factories right now, Goliath range going on the way. Like, all those things are, like, pretty normal, pretty solid opener things against a siege tank Wraith player. Now, the problem is that Nyoken's getting into a really good position. This is really, really beautiful. What you want to make sure is that this tank is out of range of up here. Not 100% sure that it is. So maybe there is a world in which Adios could siege up there and get a kill, but no, Nyoken's going to move very quickly. And he's got the vision range advantage here, which is a big deal. Tank Wraith can push down tank Goliath with range barracks. It's just a better overall range. Now, that being said, that was actually a moment that's kind of funny. Like, if Adios had done that correctly, it sieged and then chased. If it had unsieged everything, pulled the 2 Marines, put the SCVs in the front, it actually had enough to kill all this because Nyoken was in a position where he couldn't retreat further. He would have had to go to the north, and then he would have lost multiple tanks, killing nothing or killing very little, or he could have fought and killed like a little bit more and lost everything. So yeah, that was an opportunity for Adios that if it was a very decisive human, could have maybe gotten ahead on. Now, siege tanks being sieged out here. We have the 3rd base going up. Comsats for Nyoken. 3 add-ons. And this is actually a very clean, very smart play. So basically for Nyoken here, if he just continually sends up tanks and sieges, the only things that he has to look out for are hidden bases, hidden wraiths, and mass dropship. So as long as he's checking on those 3 things, it's a winning position because there's like not enough production from Adios to break out as of yet. By the way, Adios has caught up on workers pretty much, which is really great, but Nyoken does have that 3rd base down at 6 o'clock. So Nyoken is sieged. Yeah, those 3 factories looking very good. Honestly, I think he should just go into more wraiths. Oh, lets one of them die, unfortunately, there. Adios is trying to push out now. Let's see. Oh, just not quite in the... Okay, that's a great move. That's a very high-level move there. So that's something you would 100% of the time see a human do in that position. Oh, the Goliath's lost. Walk it next to the tanks to draw siege tank fire. Looks like these 2 SCVs were giving conflicting commands and bumped into each other. That actually happens even to human players. And still a big enough siege line to not die, but I don't see any plans for Adios to break out, right? Like, this containment is brutal. And Nyoken is just rallying up into more of a containment. So we're going to speed it up a little bit and see what Adios tries to do, because otherwise this could just be literally mining out for Adios as it tries to break out very slowly and unsuccessfully. All right, that's good. That's a good moment. Now, that being said, Nyoken is just moving more siege tanks up here. So now it's become even tougher than before. You have to be really decisive. Like, as soon as you break an area, you need to really shove through that area. Now, we have a drop going down. Let's slow this down a little bit. 2 Goliath, 1 siege tank drop. Nyoken doesn't really have too much here. He does have some tanks popping out of his factory, so those should be able to clean it up. Tons of tanks out here. Just does not look breakable at the moment. More dropships being made. And, you know, Nyoken's down to like 60 workers, but he does take another base over in the bottom right. Okay, vultures come in. Nyoken wants to try to go for a kill. Nyoken, by the way, almost a +2 attack. All right, let's speed this up a little bit. Yeah, not a lot left here for Adios. Another drop came down, and that was like, I mean, it did all right. It did all right. You can see Adios here really struggling with tons of minerals. You know, if Nyoken had to put such a contain down, maybe it could have expanded a bunch, gotten more gas for those units it wants to create. But like supply-wise, it's actually like doing all right. Like 114 against 99, not too bad. More drops coming down, but Nyoken seems to be ready for this now. Not a lot left. Another drop going to go down. Nyoken taking another base and even setting up Goliaths here. And in fact, yeah, he's going to build missile turrets. The old missile turret contain. So yeah, obviously the bots can't really do anything until you kill all their buildings. They don't, as far as I know, none of them actually leave when they're super far behind. So we're just kind of speeding this up a little bit because Nyoken's getting into this position where like 10 pro gamers put together wouldn't even have a shadow of a chance against him. But yeah, basically everything mined out here for Crossia, or for Adios, sorry. And yeah, the vultures just kind of glitching. Not that they would do anything if they got out here, just kind of die to these siege shanks. Mass +1 siege shanks out there for Nyoken. So yeah, we're going to call it. That's going to be game. Yeah, I mean, the containment, I think, was actually, I guess, a perfect strategy from Nyoken against this bot, because it does take a lot of finesse to break out of these. And you have to be very decisive about it as well. You also have to kind of know that that's meta. Ah, okay. Well, that's going to be it. Nyoken wins game 1. GG. All right, now we have Nyoken here on that right-hand side on Neosylphid, and he's going up against Banana Brain. That is the perfect name for a Protoss bot. I expect to see some S-level play here from Banana Brain, and he's going to be up at 12. So, you know, we saw that containment go down. Felt like Adios, you know, the opener was pretty solid overall. It was like not super optimized, but like those really hard decisions, it's like a gigantic decision tree to do something like a Vulture expansion. It's like really complicated. Even pros die regularly doing that build, right? The thing is, it's a very, very flexible opener. So you can do things like what Adios did. But yeah, Nyoken just completely abusing it. Seems like everyone kind of figuring out pretty quickly what the bot can't deal with, and then giving it a lot of that to try to deal with. So we'll go ahead, speed this a little bit until we get into a tiny bit of action here. So just gateway into scout. Nyoken with his racks, he oftentimes walls, so it might be something like that. Gonna go ahead and scout himself. Yeah, and he is going to go for that wall. Better safe than sorry, I guess. All right, we have the Zealot out. And yeah, now you can just kind of microing around trying to watch. Oh my God, Citadel of Dune right in his face. Well, you know what's happening here is Nyoken. This looks like it's going to probably be a DT rush. Factory coming up. Like here with no range on the way, you would normally just go mines and a turret. The trick is timing out the turret correctly. You probably want to start at like 410. I would start my eBay just to be safe. Templar Archives on the way. Nyoken getting ready here. Maybe to expand. He's playing so safe. So safe. So he is going mines, and he is, yeah, you got the eBay just about 410 like I mentioned. So he's going to have enough. Like you want 4 Marines in your bunker 100%. Probably land the eBay here because you just want to stop it from running by. He actually brings the Vulture all the way up. And yeah, he's just going to start laying mines that you're going to have to walk through with these Dark Templars, unfortunately. Academy on the way as well. So additional levels of detection. You definitely want a turret here also. DT. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's a pro DT right there. DT on attack move killed the mine when it popped up. So basically a B rank Protoss player here. Couple more gates on the way. Range. Oh, is it going to go into mass range goon from here? That's a possibility. Dude, it swiped a second mine. I wonder if there's micro to that it could happen. The thing is, if you attack move a DT through mines, occasionally it will just kill one that popped up. But the fact that this one killed 2 does make me wonder. Nyoken right now just adding some factories. Should get that those comsats up pretty quickly here. Good pro production overall by Banana Brain. Better than some of the other bots that we've seen. It's actually staying pretty close despite how late its command set or its expansion is comparatively. Like 25 probes is pretty solid right now. It's got its 4-gate production, just rallying out goons. All right, I think we'll speed up once again. Wait for some action. No robotics or anything like that from Banana Brain. Just pure goons. You know, not sure what it's going to be able to get done with these goons. Normally, when you're making goons like this... Okay, well, that's what you do if you want to do a mega recall. Or actually, I think it got named Total Recall. That's the best. But yeah, like this is how you get a bunch of units on top of each other. The way that this happens is if you have a unit that goes through it. Like a probe displaces things when it's told to mine. So I think it just clipped the edge of these units and then patrol was hit. And I just saw this happen again. It just kind of, oh no, I think it was just on its way out and they walked on top of it because they're displacing each other, they can displace each other again. If that makes sense, right? Because they're not supposed to hold the same location. So they get a little bit of the glide and then they screw up on top of each other. So this is literally a move that you cause to happen when you want to do total recall and no other time. And you can get it to stop by just kind of clicking them in different directions so they spread out a bit. Here, what looks like happened is everything is on patrol. That's how you keep it going. So everything's on patrol, but it's all been glitched. So... kind of beautiful, isn't it? I don't know if this was programmed into the bot. I can't imagine why you would. So maybe just an error there. A human would try to fix that as quickly as possible. Nyoken moving out some with his units. We'll speed this up a bit. Yeah, he's just getting into a defensive position there. Yeah, High Templars joining in. More Nexuses going down. The macro of the bot is not bad if you look at it, right? If we slow this down for a moment, it's got 64 probes, so that's like really solid macro game amounts. And now it starts to unstack its units and move them out. Like 140 supply is not super bad. High Templars are out here. He's getting Kadarin Amulet, has Storm. All right, so I mean, there's some redeeming qualities. Gonna attack in. Let's see how this goes. That is an incredibly strong defensive position by Nyoken. Banana Brain pulling back. Getting ready to go again. Huge probe count. Okay, a reasonable size storm there, leading with some zealots to drag mines. But yeah, that's not going to go super well. Nyoken is just so well defended here. Looks like we have Reaver Tech as well as a Stargate now. Don't think we saw any Reavers, but there is one on the way. Nyoken finding another base that it's trying to take. Nyoken pretty high up in supply right now. Well, it's starting to move out a little bit. Looks like we're going to have another attack in. Yeah, kind of running through some of the mines here. Kind of funny with the Reaver. Like, I like that it's using the shuttle with the Reaver. Drops it out there trying to get part of an engagement. Now, you can just lay in mines out. Like, you know, Banana Brain has a lot of supply. Maybe the best so far that we've seen. Kind of weird with that, like, patrol bug earlier on. Needs to bring its army together if it wants to try to save this game. And Nyoken just erasing this expansion. A lot of High Templars in here. I mean, this is an army. You give this army to a strong Protoss, they'll kill this. I guess we'll see how Banana Brain does. Looks like these Zealots drawing attention elsewhere. Arbiter out here now as well. So, yeah, it looks like Nyoken just kind of sets up a lot of move commands there. And that's looking like that's going to be just about that. Like the last remnants of the army coming up. And the rest of the units that were popping out of those gateways. But yeah, Nyoken at this point definitely has it. All right. So that's going to be 2 wins for Nyoken as we go on to our final game against the AIs. All right. So we are going into our final game of the 9. The AIs unable to really put up too much of a fight. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this little foray into that that bot scene. Again, I would like to thank Sonko and everyone over at Schnail for setting these up and giving a little prize fund for those players for their time and their efforts testing out these bots. And guys, if you want to play them, you definitely can, again, go to the Schnail website. I will leave a link in the description below. And, you know, honestly, like I know that these guys are making it look easy, but I'm sure that you've watched some of these guys stream before and stuff, and you've seen they make the game look much easier than it is. So honestly, some of these bots, like if you're a casual player, this might be like a very fun challenge to try out. So I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, anyways, hope that you guys have enjoyed this content as we are getting to the very end of it now. I do not expect really much of anything here. Like, when I played the bots and I played TVZ, the bot had pretty good Mutalisk micro. I think if I recall correctly, I just went like 2 Barracks Academy on like 1 base because it was like, well, the bot's not going to be able to stop me. But if I recall correctly, it was like, I was like, oh wow, those are good mutas. You know, like they microed pretty well. They took minimal shots from my turrets and killed what they could, but you know, at the end of the day, just kind of ended up running it over. I don't recall if it was Monster or a different bot at that time, but we'll see. This drone has come up and got some scouting done. You know, obviously it's programmed to try to figure out what's going on in the early game for what it needs. Like if you see a gas as a human, like you always want to try to check either command center timing or if they have a gas. If you don't know if the command center is going to come up, like you get there early and then you build a sunken so that you don't die to a vulture. In this case, Nyoken looks to be just going for, you know, probably just a barracks expand. He sends his second SCV out. Makes that second depot since he hasn't seen yet if there are lings or anything on the way. Doesn't know the timing of the hatchery. This is a hatchery first from the monster bot. And the drone just continues, man. I think Nyoken will hunt it down, though. We saw Jaeyoon very friendly leave it out. Wouldn't it be funny if lings popped in the base and you're chasing the drone? Now that would be some mind games. The drone is wily. Starts to get away. Nyoken gets in here and he's going to know that that's a hatch first. And in fact, he comes up here and is going to see no gas and in fact a 3 hatch opener, which that's an older build against Taran. We'll see what it does here for Monster. The drone's somehow still alive. Like you can force a drone kill with 2 Marines, but Nyoken keeping his units at the front, maybe even gonna pressure. There are a couple lings, only 2 lings on the way. So, I mean, 2 Marines with an SCV actually could do something there too. The drone finally under attack. And yeah, we'll get that. So we'll see Academy started, I think, pretty soon from Nyoken, but he might get an engineering bay. I feel like against an AI, okay, he does get the engineering bay. So what Nyoken is doing here is just a +1 opener to battle 3 hatch. So when you go 3 hatch, you get like a higher economy and more units, basically. So the way that Taran generally fights against that is by getting very quick +1 attack on the Marines and then powering really heavily into 5 barracks to fight against it. Now, 4 Marines are coming across, double creep in a funny layout. You never see them placed like this. They'll always be next to each other facing where the Marines will come in. But the Marines are actually getting here ahead of the Sunken's morphing. So that's like, oh my God, Nyoken gonna dive. That's kind of funny. Gonna go behind here and go after these drones. So that's like a real problem for Monster. He's gonna have to make a lot of lings. Okay, so the lings are being made, and these should be just enough to clear this. Yeah, in fact, overmakes by a couple. Layer is almost done, but did lose a couple drones, plus force a couple sunk. So overall, like, human against human, we'd look at that and say, absolutely, Nyoken just got ahead there. +1 is on the way, Academy. The bunker coming up, so like that's very normal, like if you are going to send units across the map. And in fact, like at the pro level, if you had sacrificed those Marines like that and they had speed on the way, you might die. Here, obviously, Monster was not getting the speed upgrade. I don't know if something like that would be programmed anyways, but because it's a 1 barracks opener, you just don't have a ton of Marines. But now you can throw down the bunker just to be safe. Heavy drone saturation in the main. Not very heavy at the natural, so a little mistake there from Monster. Scouting around reasonably with the lings. That's definitely something we've seen done well by this bot. Adding 3 more Raxes. Excuse me. And going up to the 5. So this is a build Nyoken is extremely good at. Just 5 barracks +1. Generally, you just go and try to kill Zerg. And I think that's, like, honestly, looking at this, Monster is not optimizing gas mining. So even though it's got like 500 gas, it's got a ton of drones and not mining from 2 geysers. So it's not going to be able to make as many Mutalisks as it could, which is unfortunate because you're going to need Mutalisks to micro against these Marines or make like 1,000,000 Sunkens. Because when Nyoken has +1 range, 20 Marines and like 5 medics, Nyoken's just going to run Monster over, I think. Going to be really hard to hold on from there. So we'll speed this a little bit. 7 mutas being made, 8 mutas. Okay, so that is a good number to start. Like, obviously, you want 9 started when you're on 3 hatch. Another Sunken going to be made. And here come the mutas. Okay, we're going to slow it down now and see what these mutas are capable of. Marine Medic out on the map. Normally, what this Marine Medic does is threatens and forces the mutas to come back. And it looks like Monster starts to and then turns around. Interesting. Not that many turrets. These mutas actually can kill these turrets. Oh, might we have an interesting game here? 1 turret taken out. Easily. These could... Like, if this was a human, the human would just be trying to stay alive and putting the mutas on top of the barracks and be ahead. Well, it depends on this bust, really. But Nyoken goes in for the bust. And it looks like, you know, these +1 Marines really giving it to the Sunks. Only 5 remain. Oh, man. Like, seriously, this was actually probably the best opportunity for a bot to maybe pick up a game. You can see the mutas are more than enough to deal with everything. And, in fact, does kill that off. But these mutas were in a position where they could have prevented more production from the barracks. And that's, like, a very common game victory in Zerg vs. Terran. If you get on top of the barracks with the mutas and you hold the counterattack, you win. I've lost countless games like that. Nyoken's lost countless games like that. Pro gamers have too. But now Nyoken has bought time. The mutas went back to clean up the few remaining Marines. And there's all sorts of missile turrets being made. But the mutas are doing pretty well. I will go ahead and say it. I think that this is so far the best game out of the bots. Like, this is pretty reasonable. Excuse me. If it had one more sunken finished when Nyoken hit and like just rallied all of its units and maybe pulled some drones to fight for a moment and then kept the mutas on top of the barracks, this absolutely could have turned into a win. Now, my gut tells me Nyoken would have like turtled this area and found a way to win because it's an AI, so he can probably outsmart it and figure out something it's doing wrong and abuse that. So like maybe he still wins, but like definitely a winning position. Now Starport's coming up for Nyoken. Third base is up for Monster. Monster with a pretty healthy drone count. Hive on the way. Evolution Chamber coming up. Muta's just, I don't know what they're doing, chasing their tails here. Whole group of mutas basically coming back and checking on that base. Right now we're kind of fast forwarding a bit to figure out what's next. Valkyrie on the way here for Nyoken. You know, if you're going to add some Valkyries into this, obviously the mutas are going to get wrecked. But you know what? There's lurkers on the way. So you get some lurkers burrowed here, some lurkers burrowed up on these ramps, and I mean, you're going to be safe against Nyoken stack. Now, burrows one back in an anti-drop location. Okay, the lurker Ling is in the wrong spot. You have 2 lurkers up this ramp. It doesn't get broken, just by the way. Didn't quite need as many drones as it made. Like, if it had lurkers in all these spots, then the game just goes on. But Nyoken going to easily kill this base off. Valkyrie's coming out. Valkyries are probably, well, I mean, they might just fly around and kill all the overlords at this point. That's definitely a possibility. Creep colony gets started, so maybe for a spore, maybe it realizes that those Valkyries could be a problem. Muta's doing a little bit of harass up here. Valkyries go back. It is pretty common to counterattack with your mutas once you have lurkers out on the map. Ooh, kind of a good location for that. Kills a few of the Marines and has enough sunks that Nyoken can't quite break that, I don't think. Yeah, not with the Lings there as well. More Marines coming down. As those Marines get there, that becomes enough to break all this. All right, the Valkyries are just shredding these Mutalisks right now. Nyoken going to attack it again, and that is going to end up being game, it looks like. No other lurkers really left. Does utilize that burrow once again, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's gonna be the game, and that is gonna be the end of the AI little series here, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and the last couple for something a little bit different. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and a big thanks to, again, the Schnell guys, as well as G-Min, Jayun, and Nyoken for playing the bots for us. Thanks for watching.